Hey, howdy, hey, welcome back to Fan Talk with yours truly, Kyle Brenchley. This is episode 3 of season 2. I am so excited to be back and having a good time here on the podcast. We have a lot to talk about today, and I don't want to rush anything. I want to give everything its adequate amount of time, but I also, there's just so much to cover. The NFL season so far has looked very, very weird. And we will dive into that. We'll talk about some overreactions so far, 2 weeks into the season, approaching week 3. What are some teams going to do? A lot of teams are 0-2. A lot of teams are at some difficult positions with injuries and quarterbacks and whatnot. Let's also look out for some awesome things that are happening. Puka Nacua, we'll talk about him. We'll talk about what some teams need to do to get back on track. And then, of course, we will make our picks on today's episode. So, Fan Talk, you can find this podcast on YouTube. I usually upload to YouTube first. So if you like the video aspect, go to YouTube. If you want audio only, go to Spotify. They're also on iHeartRadio. Don't know how many of you listen on that platform, but it's there as well. So go check me out, Fan Talk. Look me up on Instagram at KBrenchSports, or you can follow my personal account at KBrench. Leave me a message, tell me what you like about the show, and tell me what I can do better. Fan Talk. Let's go. Let's talk. So, a lot of things happened this weekend. I was in Denver for the Denver Broncos game. It's my first ever NFL game, first ever Broncos game. Really fun. Denver's a cool city. Had a great time there. Great atmosphere. Broncos country is totally cool. The Sea of Orange, the flyover. It was awesome. It was really awesome. The outcome of the game, not so awesome. Obviously, they lost. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that here coming up. I do want to show this cute little memoir thing that I got. So they honored the Super Bowl 33 Broncos team. So like John Elway was there, Terrell Davis was there. And they gave the first, I don't know how many fans, a replica Super Bowl ring. So I don't know if you can see that there. Little replica ring. It's from, it's literally the ring that they had. It's a real ring, real metal. The diamonds aren't real, of course. But pretty cool thing that they gave out to fans. It's kind of like a power ring. You just flex it around. Don't know if I'll ever wear it out in public, but there that is. That was really cool. And yeah, really fun experience. I recommend if you haven't been to an NFL game, try to go. It's really fun, and it's a totally good time. So if you haven't had a chance, go do it. I'm definitely going again. Regardless of the outcome, it's a good time. Okay, so let's talk about where I've been wrong and where I've been right. It's always good to admit you're wrong when you're wrong. No one can be right 100% of the time. And in today's world, everyone wants to be right. No one wants to admit they're wrong. So I'm going to come out and say that I've been wrong. I will be wrong a lot. Prepared to see me be wrong. There you go. There I have it. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. And just like you, we're going to be wrong. I'm going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong. But let's talk about some things so far. So, first and foremost, I was definitely wrong about the Denver Broncos. They have a lot more issues than I thought. You know, for years the narrative has been, oh, they are a quarterback away from being contenders. They had a really good defense. They had really good young receivers, good running back. They just needed a quarterback. And they couldn't find that quarterback for years and years and years. And so they went through coaches and quarterbacks like nothing else. And then they finally land Russell Wilson. And he has his worst season last year ever. And the blame is, oh, it's Nathaniel Hackett. The coaching was bad. It was a complete mess. Let's go get Sean Payton. Everything will be better. They go get Sean Payton. Sean Payton is an incredible coach, has done incredible things. He knows football. And we've actually seen good improvement in Russell Wilson in terms of his play. He's throwing the ball a lot better. He's making less mistakes. He's doing some good things. He's thrown for 485 yards this season already. He has a 68% completion rating, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Had a really nice deep ball to Marvin Mims Jr. in that game on Sunday against the Commanders. He's played pretty well. And yet, the Broncos are 0-2 with losses both games at home to the Raiders and the Commanders. I don't want to sit here and say the Raiders and Commanders are bad football teams. I think they're both better than definitely I thought, but also better than a lot of people have thought. Commanders team looks very good. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, is doing a lot of good things for that team. And the Raiders, I think, have kind of stayed the same, but they're still a tough team. They're a team that will be in the mix, year in and year out. And so the defense has taken a big step back. The offense still isn't perfect. There's still some time management issues with getting the snap off and getting the call and the play in. So the Denver Broncos have a lot of things to figure out. And let's hope they do. Or else a lot of people are going to be wrong, including me. And I was wrong thinking that they would come out to a strong start. Season's not over yet. Tough matchup against Miami here in week 3. We'll talk about that a little later. Some places where I was right, though. I had to get the wrong one out of the way, and now I can talk about how I'm right. Justin Fields is not good. He is not playing well. Justin Fields is very talented. Justin Fields has the potential to be a star. A lot of people had him as a front runner, or at least, top 5, top 10 for MVP this year. He is not looking good. He is not playing well. Let's look at his stat line. Justin Fields, if I can find him on here. Justin Fields, 60% completion rating, not horrid. 427 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but has taken 10 sacks. That's one of the most. I think it's tied for second most in the league. His quarterback rating is only 22.2. Not very good. And in a press conference today, when asked, Justin, why aren't you playing well? He says he feels like he's being too robotic. He can't be himself. And he blamed coaching. He said coaching's perhaps the problem there. Tough day for coaching. Defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears has stepped down. Justin Fields has fired shots at his offensive coordinator, at the QB coach, at Matt Eberflus. Chicago's in some hoopla right now. Let's just say that. Justin Fields is not good. He's not playing well. It's not looking good for Chicago. Maybe they regret trading that number 1 pick. Speaking of people who are not good, Zach Wilson is not good. He's not a good quarterback. He's not doing well in the NFL. He's not living up to expectations. He's definitely not leading the Jets to the playoffs this year. And so the Jets really have a question that they need to answer. Do we go after a quarterback in free agency? And there's not a ton of great options. I mean, for good reason. If you're a great quarterback, you're going to be on a team. They have Carson Wentz, maybe Nick Foles, maybe ask Matt Ryan to come out of retirement. None of these options are very attractive to me. But the real question is, are you willing to grab somebody like that? Maybe even trade for Mitchell Trubisky. I don't know. That might be a little bit of a stretch. Case Keenum. Or are you going to ride Zach Wilson out through the rest of the season? Let's look at Zach Wilson's stats. I will say this. Tough shoes to fill. Aaron Rodgers was coming in. Everybody thought he was going to save the day in New York. Goes down on the first quarter, the first possession of the game. Zach Wilson does come in. He fills the shoes. They do get the win. And so kudos to him for winning that Monday Night Football game against a tough Buffalo Bills team. And perhaps the argument is, oh, Dallas has the best defense. Those interceptions and that bad play was in garbage time. He was just trying to make something happen. He's really not that bad. But let's just look at all the seasons that he's played in the NFL. And nothing has changed. You can blame coaching. You can blame that he didn't have the pieces. You can blame his offensive line. But at a certain point, a quarterback in the NFL has to prove themselves without all the pieces. Like, there was years and years and years that Tom Brady had no-name receivers. And this was like years ago, before he was who he is now. No-name receivers, suspect offensive lines. Yes, he always had a great coach. I think Robert Saleh, while not up to the pedigree of Bill Belichick, I think Robert Saleh still is a fantastic coach. He's somebody that the players like, someone that he can rally behind. I think Zach Wilson really needs to prove himself in the next couple weeks, or he will never have success as an NFL quarterback. So, to all the supporters out there who say, well, it's all these other pieces that haven't been there for him. He's a great guy. It's time to prove it. It's time to prove it. Justin Fields, it's time to prove it. Zach Wilson, it's time to prove it. Deshaun Watson, time to prove it for him too. There's plenty of room for growth for a lot of quarterbacks here in the NFL. Zach Wilson's stat line, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 310 yards, passer rating, or quarterback rating, 36. He's better than Justin Fields. But, yeah. So I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of room for growth for Justin Fields, for Zach Wilson. Deshaun Watson needs to step up. The Browns are paying him millions and millions of dollars. He doesn't look that great this year. So, I mean, Josh Dobbs has more passing yards and a better rating than Zach Wilson. So let's put that in perspective right now. Zach Wilson does have a better rating than Joe Burrow. So pat yourself on the back for that. All right. So what to look out for week 3? Let's talk about some positive things. Let's talk about some players who are doing well. Let's talk about Puka Nacua. Now this guy, he went to BYU. He's actually pretty good player, honestly. He was a wide receiver. A lot of people don't even know who he is. A lot of defensive backs line up against this guy and they're like, who is this guy? And then he torches them for 10, 12 catches a game. He's been playing lights out. And Matthew Stafford likes to throw to him. You know, Cooper Kupp's out. Van Jefferson really hasn't been playing up to the par of the Van Jefferson we knew maybe about 2 seasons ago. So Nacua is getting a lot of reps. He's getting a lot of exposure. He's a young guy. Wants to play ball. 22 years old. He's younger than me. And if he's somehow available in any of your fantasy leagues, go pick him up right now. I got him in 1 league out of 6. I tried to get him in 6, and I only got him in 1 league because he was picked up so quick. So, Nacua, kudos to you. Another player, so Nacua went to BYU, another player who played in Utah, Jordan Love from Utah State, is killing it as the Packers quarterback. They did have that tough loss to the Falcons in the final moments, but he's played really well. He's thrown for 400 yards. His passer rating or quarterback rating is 75, 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions right now. I think the Packers are really going to put up a fight for the division against the Lions. It's going to come down to that again, Packers-Lions. So watch out for Jordan Love to see if he continues to play well. And let's talk about some injuries. Key injuries are obviously Anthony Richardson with that concussion. Bryce Young's got an ankle injury. Joe Burrow's got calf injury. there's some quarterbacks here that are not in a good position. And so you ask as a team, like, what do we do when our quarterback does not play? As I mentioned earlier, at least in the case of the New York Jets, do you go out and get another quarterback? With the Browns or with the Broncos, do you move on from Russell Wilson at the end of the season? Do you move on from Deshaun Watson at the end of the season? Do you move on from Justin Fields? Like, what do you do in these positions? And that's the question, and that's the place that a lot of NFL teams are at. Can I just say that week 2 was a bummer? There was so many players that went down with injuries. Poor Nick Chubb out for the season. J.K. Dobbins went down in week 1, out for the season. Shaq Thompson for the Carolina Panthers, out for the season. Joe Burrow, like I mentioned, has that calf injury. Bryce Young, the ankle injuries. Saquon Barkley's going to be out multiple weeks. Jamal Williams going to be out multiple weeks. What is going on with all these injuries? Now, last thought before we get to the picks. I've been a big believer in that champions should be the toughest team. Not necessarily the best team. Because the best team doesn't win the championship every year. For example, in the 2021 NBA season, the Utah Jazz had the best record in the NBA. They were considered the best team because they had the best record, they were playing really well, they were the top seed in the West. But the best team, and in this case the Utah Jazz, didn't win. They got knocked out by the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard in the second round. So, what I believe in any professional sports, it's which team can have a full season. Which team can make it through a full season. It's survival of the fittest. It's not the best team that wins. It's the team that can survive the longest. And in the 2021 year, that was the Milwaukee Bucks. They haven't been back to the championship since. In recent years in the NFL, it's usually been the Kansas City Chiefs or a Tom Brady-led team. It's the team that can survive the longest. And there's various things that contribute to a team being that way. But I really do think that this season, with all these injuries so far, with all these questions, it's really going to be which team can survive the longest, which team can avoid the injuries, which team can have a solid quarterback, can have a solid defense, solid coaching that gets them through the season and gets them to the Super Bowl. Which team is that going to be? Let me know down below. I'm just going to say this right now. The best team in the league is not going to win the Super Bowl. It's going to be the team that survives the longest. It could be a tough team. Maybe the Dolphins, maybe the Chiefs again. Perhaps the 49ers. It's going to be the team that essentially can survive the longest and avoid the most injuries. So, without further ado, let's jump into week 3. Today is Wednesday for reference. So, tomorrow night, Thursday night football, we have the Giants and the 49ers. 49ers. The Giants impressed me last week as much as you can be impressed with a victory over the Cardinals. The Cardinals were up 28-3, and then the Giants came back. Regardless of the team, that does take a lot. So I will give respect where respect is due. Good job, Giants, but 49ers are going to trump you. Falcons and Lions. Ooh. The Falcons are 2-0. Falcons are a good football team. I do think the Lions win this one, though. It's a really close game. I like the Lions at home. Give me the Lions, but don't sleep on the Falcons. Chargers and Vikings. Both teams are 0-2. One of these teams is going to go 0-3. That's crazy. I think ultimately that this Chargers defense, literally so talented, but is in shambles. I think the Vikings win this one. Chargers go 0-3. Crazy. Saints and Packers, will be a fun game to watch. I'm really excited. I'm going to try to watch this one. I think that the Packers win this one at home. Saints are a good team, though. They'll always put up a fight. But Jordan Love has proven thus far that he is QB1 there in Green Bay. Packers go to 2-1. Texans and Jaguars. This game might be a snoozer. I think the Jaguars will win. The Texans don't look very good. CJ Stroud, young guy, he's trying to figure things out. He doesn't look very good. Go Jags. Duval. Broncos at Dolphins. I'm definitely picking the Dolphins on this one. I might pick every opponent of the Broncos for the rest of the season just because the Broncos cannot finish games. Their defense is not strong. There's too many issues. Until proven otherwise, they don't look like a team that can win football games. So give me the Dolphins. Titans and Browns. I like the Titans in this one. A couple weeks ago, I said no one will talk about the Titans at all at any point during the season. I am wrong on that. We're talking about the Titans who beat the Chargers in overtime last week. I like the Titans over the Browns. The Browns just lost Nick Chubb. Deshaun Watson doesn't know what he's doing. The defense is good, but defenses can only do so much, so give me the Titans. Bills and Commanders. This is a sneaky game. It's in Washington, and Washington's playing really well. They really are. They're 2-0. They just put up 35 points against the Broncos defense. Granted, the Broncos defense has taken a step back, but in the past has been really good. Josh Allen is struggling. This is my upset pick of the week. I am going with the Commanders. Commanders at home, beating the Bills. Check it. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. Colts and Ravens. Give me the Ravens. Colts are in trouble if Anthony Richardson is out. I mean, Gardner Minshew's a cool guy, but that offense is not very clicking right now. Patriots and Jets. I like the Patriots. Patriots are 0-2, and Zach Wilson is quarterback for the Jets. Panthers and Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks. Panthers are not a good team. They might be the third worst team, if not second worst team in the league this year. Bears and Chiefs. Definitely the Chiefs. The Bears are in shambles right now. Cowboys and Cardinals. Give me the Cowboys. Steelers and Raiders. Ooh, Sunday night game. I think the Raiders win this game, but it comes down to the defense. Can the Steelers defense carry the team to another victory? The reason they won the Browns game is because of their defense. Kenny Pickett is not doing crap. Matt Canada apparently is not good. I haven't followed the Steelers much, but their whole fan base hates him, and they were chanting "Fire Matt Canada." Kenny Pickett is looking like he's peeing his pants out there every time he snaps the ball. If the defense can play lights out, they might have a shot, but I like Jimmy G and the Raiders at home Sunday Night Football. Eagles and Buccaneers. Give me the Buccaneers. 2-0 Baker Mayfield is going to be 3-0 on Monday Night Football, and he's going to beat the Eagles, and everyone is going to be like, wow, Tampa Bay is better with Baker Mayfield than they were with Tom Brady. The second Monday night game, Bengals and Rams. I like the Rams in this one. I think the Bengals are not playing well. They're going to go to 0-3, if you can believe it. It's going to be a weird week in the NFL, honestly. There's some good games in the early slate. The afternoon slate, not so much. And then some interesting matchups Sunday, Monday night that could go either way, depending on the outcome. But those are my picks. Go check it. I will let you know what my record is next week in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Wherever guys you listen, wherever you guys watch, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, whatever it is, I appreciate it. Also, I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the month. So please, please, please hit the subscribe button. And again, thank you guys. We'll see ya.